Hey everybody, it's Dr. Detroit here, the doctor is in, and tonight we got a really cool episode for you, because tonight I don't give a shit. I said shift! Oh, good grief. These sensors are really getting out of hand. Anyway, I think tonight we are going to focus our attention on something very important. Something that is extremely important when you're driving a real car or you're driving a race car. Because tonight we're going to be talking about shitting. Oh, there it goes again! Come on, man. Man, I guess the sensors take no bullshit. Oh, for the love of God, Doc. You lost half your audience already. Well, to the four of you still watching this, well, welcome in. But still, the point stands. Shifting is extremely important when it comes to driving your road car, but also when it comes to racing. Shifting is essentially where the transmission in your car shifts gears either up or down to make yourself go a little faster as the engine is turning. Now, of course, a lot of people may know about automatic gears, but there's also the manual transmissions. See, back in the day, there was mostly manual transmissions, and many race cars were manual. They were very easy to, maneuver, but sometimes it took a little longer to, get through all the gears and things like that. These days, most of the road-going cars are automatic cars. But here's the good news though. All race cars are manual or sequential. Now to illustrate this, let me see, I think I got a pen off screen here. Let me grab that really quick. Yeah, here we go. Perfect, I got one. Alright, so to understand kind of the different shifting patterns and things like that, we need to understand the two most important shift patterns around. They are called H pattern and sequential. We'll start with the H pattern first. The H pattern is, well, it's pretty self-explanatory because it kind of looks like this. So you have a nice long line here, and then you have this line coming this way, and then you come over here and you do this down the way right there. So this is an H pattern, or basically what looks like an H pattern. So when you look at this, here's where all the gears are. So up here would be first, down here would be second, over here is third, and down here is fourth. Now here's the really cool thing though. This was the traditional way of, shifting, and it was very important to remember which gear was where. Thankfully though, many of the gear shifter knobs that you put your hand on would show you how you would work it. So, as I just showed, first gear would usually be right here, so it's at the very top. Now when you wanted to shift in a second, you push the clutch in, depress the brake, and then shift her down into second. Then you take your foot out of the clutch and put your gas foot back in. And then you do the same thing for going to third and going to fourth. Oh, almost forgot. Occasionally, these even had a reverse gear, which was usually over here in this area. Let's go ahead and see if I can draw a backwards R here. Hey, it worked! That's pretty cool, isn't it? Now, throughout the years, they added more gears to the mix. So all of a sudden, R became, let's see if we can cross that out really quickly. R became fifth gear, which I kind of messed that up a little bit. Where is a, one sec. Let me find a eraser here. Ah, here we go, here's one. Alright, let me fix this really quickly, because I kind of messed this one up. There we go. Alright, let's put this off screen for a sec. Later in life, they added a fifth gear, which then fifth gear became sixth gear, and the fifth gear went up this way. So now, the principle was still the same. you have first gear here, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and then reverse was over here. So, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and put circles around here, so that way it makes it a little bit easier to see these here on the H pattern things. There we go. There we go. There we are. And there we go. Okay. Now, it may look like a little bit of a gobbledygook drawing and stuff, but this is essentially what an H pattern would look like. Many old cars, such as like the Chevrolet Chevelles, the cars from the 1960s and 70s, all had something similar to this. And usually, the more high-performance cars you had, the more gears that there would be. Especially when it came to things like the Shelby Cobra, the Chevrolet Camaro, Dodge Charger for that matter. But you would only get those gears if it had a specific transmission in it. The car behind me that I actually rolled up in, this little number over here, this is actually a Nissan 240Z, but it's also a Datsun 240Z. However, it wasn't that far off because this is also a Nissan Fairlady in some areas. As a matter of fact, we're actually gonna take a look at that car a little later on, especially down the line. So now let's erase this really quick. Let's get this taken care of right here. There we go. Okay. Now, oops. There we go. All right. Let me grab my pen again. Because now we got to go into sequential. Now, sequential gearboxes are what most racing divisions use these days. You usually will find them in IndyCar, IMSA, pretty much any touring car that's out there, even Formula One, and even NASCAR uses it in the Cup Series. Here's how that works. So what it is that let's go ahead and just draw a big line. Let's go ahead and draw a big line right here again. And what happens here is very simple. Instead of shifting in an H pattern like so, instead you would either shift up or shift down with a gear lever that would go up and down, or usually with a paddle shifter on your steering wheel. And here's what would happen. So the bottom gear here would be reverse. Let's go ahead and do that really quickly. There we go. And then anything else just kind of, goes from there. So that means, if I could just go over here really quickly. So that means from R, you then would simply click up to go to first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and so on and so forth. But here's the thing: you simply push the lever or click the paddle shifter up once, and you can go up a gear. But hit the other side or pull the gear lever back to you, then you go down a gear. This also helps to make sure that you don't accidentally, shift it down to the wrong side. That's because a lot of the sequential gearboxes have a computer inside there, or a small chip, that tells the engine and tells the computer on board to not shift down, too fast. And I'll tell you something. This particular sequential gearbox is what we use in a lot of different cars. Heck, I even use it in my Cadillac Hypercar when I'm in the IMSA League. Cars like this Nissan Fairlady actually have an H pattern. This is because this is a car from the 1970s. In fact, if I can actually go inside the car itself, I'll show you exactly what the gear shift looks like. So right here is the H pattern gear shift. Right now it's in the middle with neutral. However, the way it works is just as I showed you. You simply grab it and you can shift it up to first, then down to second, then over to third, and then back to fourth. And then of course you put it right here in the middle. That's considered neutral. However, you gotta be really careful with this, because here's the thing about it. Up here on the dash, I don't think you guys can really see it very well, but there is a tachometer. And you'll see the tachometer when we actually get one of these cars on the racetrack, but that'll happen momentarily. Because here's the thing. Let's say you grab the shifter and you go from first to second to third, but suddenly you go to first. Bad mistake. And you want to know why? Well, there's a good reason why we don't suddenly shift from third to first that quickly. The reason you don't shift down from third to first is very simple. The RPMs, or revs per minute, are going to be way too high, and it's going to put a lot of stress on the engine and also the transmission. And believe me, if you shift down way too fast and leave it there for a very long time, boom, you're going to blow the motor, and you're also going to get something called a box full of neutrals, which means that you blew the transmission out, and that's about a 7 grand to about 100 grand fix, depending on what car you're in. But here's the thing though, to make sure that you do not shift down too much, we're actually going to go out on the racetrack for this. Now, I could demonstrate with this car here, but you know what? This thing, while fun, where we're actually located right now, um, there's not really enough big roads to show you. So we might actually need another racetrack to help us out with this. To help better illustrate with shifting, I decided to take a few cars out to a very cool place, the Daytona International Speedway. I took a Chevrolet Chevelle, and I also took one other car out there, but I'll reveal that later. The Chevy Chevelle is one of Chevrolet's coolest muscle cars. Next to the Camaro, the Chevelle sold really well in the early 1970s. And this one is kind of bred to be a racer. However, this particular one still needed a little bit of help. So let's roll the footage, and not only are you going to see the onboard of my laps around Daytona in the Chevy Chevelle, but you're also going to see the outside from what the track cameras picked up. So let's take a look at that, and it'll help illustrate a bit more about an H-pattern shifter. So here we are inside my Chevrolet Chevelle, or Chevy Chevelle, as a lot of people call it. And this one has a 4-speed manual, and this also has an H-pattern as well. So let me show you how we shift up and shift down in a regular, in a regular H-pattern car. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and get this rolling. All right, so far you can see we're just kind of normal. And see the gauges right there? So, you can also see the little thingy down below. You can see as we get closer, you want to get it as close as you can right here without it, going all weird. So see right there? You don't want to hold it too wide open. When you get to this point, you shift up. So now we're in second. So now we can go a little faster. Then we can go to third. And we can also get another camera angle too, or we can also show you the telemetry a little bit later. Right now, as you can see, we're nice and easy here. But now, here's something that we're going to do. We're actually going to go ahead and give this a bit more gas, and we're going to shift it again into fourth. So now you can see we're cruising. So now you're up into fourth gear. Also, we're on the Daytona Oval, as you can see. So it's a little bit easier to show you shifting here, especially when it comes to shifting up to a higher gear. Now, the one thing you don't want to do is that you don't want to shift down too soon. So I'm going to go ahead and back off the gas a little bit, and then I'm going to shift back down to third. Now, see right there, I have to match the RPMs. Because here's the thing, if we actually go back up here into fourth gear, I can't, just shift down really quickly. Because here's why. If I'm all the way up here in fourth gear and I shift to third, that can do some serious damage, because watch what happens as soon as I shift to third when I'm being this high in fourth. Hear that? You do not want to do that. You do not want to do that, because what it will do is that you'll basically make the engine over rev, and more than likely you're going to blow the thing. So in order to avoid that, if we go ahead and give this a bit more fuel, go ahead and bring it up to here. We'll wait until we get to the back stretch to show you what happens next. Also, I forgot this car is a little bit ass-happy, too. So now if we bring it to here, and I slow down, it's best to slow the car down, and then shift. See, right there, that's totally fine. In fact, let's see if we can get a better view here. There we go. Let's go ahead and use this. No, let's go ahead and use... Where is it? Oh, Jesus. There it is. So this is a perfect example right here, because this is what you're going to be looking at. See the red over there? That's when you get to the rev limiting of the engine itself. Your left side is the speedometer, and your right side's the tach. And I think this car is even a 5-speed. See if it can get up here to 5 gears. There it goes. And now we're up to almost race speed. Now, here's the other thing, too. There's also something called short shifting. Now, short shifting is basically where you shift earlier than the red line. Short shifting can be really good for, like, keeping the RPMs up and also keeping the turbo speed up if there is such a thing as a turbo. So let's do this. We're going to lower the car down. We're going to slowly shift her back down the road here to about... let's go into second gear here. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the accelerator. I'm going to show you how you short shift. So, here we go. Now see, I'm actually doing this. You can see I'm short shifting a bit just before I get to 7,000 RPMs. Now short shifting is pretty good to keep the speed up, but it also helps with fuel mileage too. Alright, now let's go ahead and go for a lap around here and just see what we can do with this thing. This car is not quite meant for racing purposes just yet. Oh boy. Okay, we're getting a little loosey-goosey there, so we're gonna back off the gas because this thing is a handful already. But now I'm gonna show you what you do to slow down. So as the car slows down, then you can start to shift down, and as long as you shift down normally like so, and not, mess up and shift down too soon, then you'll be fine with the engine. See, right there, that's a huge error. Now I did that on purpose to show you guys exactly what happens. So now if I come over here to the front stretch, and I slow down even more, I want to slow down just before we get down below 70 miles an hour. Down to first, and then we'll go down to second here. And then we can bring the car to a stop. So that's how you shift up and you shift down when you're out there on the road. But now, as the car gets reset, okay. But now what we're gonna do is that now we're gonna take this up a notch. We're now going to go with a car that has sequential shifting. And this one is going to be a fun one, too. Did you like the sound of that, Chevelle? That thing had some pretty good power underneath it, didn't it? 440 horsepower that thing had. And, of course, that car was not set up for Daytona. Wasn't even set up for the oval. Which is one of the reasons, too, why we couldn't quite, get it up to speed properly. But, once it's fully tuned, we'll probably go out there again and, try and see if we can get a better run. But now that you know a bit more about the H pattern, we're now going to move to a car that has sequential. However, we got to take ourselves a little break, so that way it gives all the information and stuff that you now have a chance to marinate. So, when we come back after this word from your local station, we'll show you how a sequential gearbox works, and you guys are going to be in for a real treat. So stick around, everybody. We'll be right back. You're watching Doc's Racing Notebook here on the Electric Paradise Studios channel.
Y'all like retro games, drinks, food, entertainment? Well, look no further. Over here at Bandit Arcade, you get everything that you've ever wanted. Come on inside and I'll show you around, sugar. Here at Bandits Barcade, old games meet good food as well as also great drinks. And not only that, sugars, but this is a place where all ages can come by. So even your grandkids can even come here too. You can come by and admire some of the retro posters or shoot a game of pool. Play your favorite retro video games on our big screen televisions. Take pictures with some of your favorite video game characters such as Mega Man here. Enjoy some delicious pizza by the slice. I love that. And you can drink your favorite beverage, all from the different taps that they have here. Look at that, sugars. Samba juice. Ooh, yummy. That's good, isn't it? So come to the place that has the master plan, and come on down to Bandits Barcade. Drink responsibly. Safety is number one here at Bokuma International Airport. Every single airplane is inspected and repaired by yours truly. Fedoric Airlines has some of the safest planes around. And through this special TV offer, if you buy tickets to go anywhere with Fedoric Airlines using the code 2TAILS, you'll receive 2 tickets at half off. Pretty amazing, isn't it? Fedoric Airlines and even Air Tennis all passed their safety checks on the first try, but there was only one airline that was voted the safest flights ever, and that is Kaz Express, the official airline of the Traveling Nardo and also the official cargo airline. So don't be shy about booking your next flight with Bokuma International Airport. We do the flying for you. Or better yet, leave it to me.
Welcome back, everybody, to Doc's Racing Notebook. Before the break, we talked about the fact that we were going to show you how the sequential gearbox works. Well, now, my friends, we are going to do something pretty cool. As many of you may know, I've driven tons of different cars, and I have raced in so many different categories. But one such category that I personally enjoy is called GTD Pro, or GR3. These are the factory-based teams that are just amazing. They have the budget to, race as many cars they want to, but these are also where the professional drivers sometimes race in. Now, of course, the pinnacle of any sports car class is the prototypes. However, we'll do more about prototypes and hypercars down the road. But for this one, we're bringing out my trusty Chevrolet Corvette C7. Not the Camaro, jeez. I'm leaving that in because you know what? It's hilarious. Anywho, the Chevy Corvette C7 is probably a fan favorite amongst a lot of Chevrolet fans. And you know what, too? It shows. The C7, both its on-track counterpart and its road counterpart, oh my goodness. That V8 rumbles like a champ. And you know what, too? I've driven that Corvette so many different times that I've won a ton of races in it. I'm not quite sure how many races that I have won in the Corvette, but I gotta say, it was where I got my very first career win in many moons ago, way back in 2020. This one, however, this is a car that is called Glory Bound. Glory Bound was one of my best league cars ever. This thing finished on the podium a staggering 10 times and also won 5 races, with its most recent win coming just last year when I drove it at Kyoto Driving Park, which was one of the places that we visited to in a different series that we can't talk about anymore, and won there. So this car has not really seen too much track action, but we're going to use it at Daytona, because this was also the place where I finished third in at the very beginning of the year for a totally different league. So to talk about sequential gearboxes, let's take a look at the footage from my laps at the Daytona International Speedway, but this time we're using the Roval section. That's right, there's a Roval section at Daytona, Where this time, instead of using the big 2.5 mile, oval, we use the road course that has this very weird sector in it, followed by the famous Le Mans chicane, or the bus stop, as it's called. Keep your ears out for some of the lingo. So now, folks, for your viewing pleasure, sequential gearbox in my Chevrolet Corvette GR3. Okay, so right now it's the middle of the afternoon, and we now have a car that's got the sequential gearbox. And you can probably tell by the engine that we are inside my Chevrolet Corvette GR3. Now, for this one, as we mentioned before, sequential means that I can only shift up and shift down when I need to. And this time we got the rollable portion taken care of. So now let me show you how this goes. We're going to burn the first few laps here so I can kind of show you how this works. So right now we're going to get up to speed here a little bit. And what you're going to do is that you're going to have to shift down, because shifting down along with the brakes helps slow down the vehicle. So as I'm coming into turn 1, I'm going to shift it down here to second gear. You'll see it a bit better in motion. And then when I come out of the corner, I can pick it up on the gas and then just start shifting up again. Most of the time, I'll be able to shift up and shift down, at certain parts of the track, such as that little U-turn section there. You will need to get down into first gear, but we'll take a look more at that very soon. But right now, what I'm doing is that I'm just kind of holding here and essentially just feeling everything out. Here you can take this in second gear. Sometimes you can take it in third gear. But it depends on the torque, and it depends on everything. Now, this is a 6-speed sequential manual car, so this is going to be a lot of fun. So watch this. We're going to go ahead and go up to full song here. Ooh, tires are a little bit cold. And you can see we're all the way up in the 6th gear. But now, here we go. We're going to go into this corner, and I'm going to use those benchmarks. See those numbers right there? The 3, the 2, the 1? That shows me exactly where I need to go. And also, you'll need to learn about throttle control and brake control, which we'll talk more about that in another episode. But right now, let's go ahead and get this thing up to full song, and I'm going to call out my shift points. So you guys can use this as sort of a manual for when you guys go out here. Hopefully you guys can hear my voice over the engine. But here we go. We're gonna come across the start-finish line. I'm in 6th gear right now. I'm up here at the 180 category because we're not in the VOP. But here we go. Turn number 1, down to 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd. Hold 2nd as you go through the corner. Now you're gonna shift up to 3rd. Then you'll shift up to 4th right here, and you'll shift into 5th for a second, because then you'll go down to 4th and 3rd. And then you go down to 2nd gear, let the car drift out, and then you're going to shift upwards. Now, if you watch carefully, I'm actually short shifting this car, because this particular car has quite a bit of torque in it. Shifting down again, all the way down to 2nd gear, I can hold this right here, and then bring the car out. Let me go ahead and take a little bit of TCS out of it, so we can get the full experience here. Which, by the way, TCS is the traction control system. Also, we're not using any brake bias at the moment. But now you can see as we go on to the high portions of the track, I'm short shifting it because you can see there that if you over rev the car, you're actually going to make it go much slower. So short shifting can sometimes help you. Alright, here we go. There's the 3, there's the 2, where I'm going to start by braking. I probably could have taken it a little bit harder, but the tires are not up at temperature right now. And you can see right there that I took the bus stop chicane here at Daytona in 3rd gear. So now we're up in the 6th gear again. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay quiet so you guys can actually hear the upshifts and downshifts. Because I want you guys to tune your ears to it. You can see there that we've improved big time. And of course, in using a sequential, you either have a stick next to you or you have your paddle shifters here. But you can see that now I'm getting a little bit better because at this junction right now, I'm starting to get a little tight out here. You can see it's just a little bit nose heavy, which is one of the things we learned in the lingo episode. And as we throw it here into the corner, we got to be super careful with this. Nice and easy as we come out. Kind of had a little hiccup there, but that's okay. Because we're still putting together a pretty decent lap for the most part. And of course, you guys are getting the double vision as you're getting an onboard, but you can also see what the track cameras are picking up too. So you can see exactly where we are, especially when it comes to, where we are on track. As we get through the bus stop chicane, looks like we're going to be a touch slower on this run than we were the other run. But as you can see, we're already up in the 6th gear. Once again, we're going to come out of the corner, and it's going to be not the best lap, but at least we got around here pretty well. Yeah, we slowed down tremendously. But there you go, guys. That's basically what you need to know about, shifting. And of course, you put these all together, and you'll be able to you'll be able to win on race day, hopefully. And hopefully, hopefully I'll see you in Victory Lane. Truth be told, that car was really hooked up pretty well. It's just we had a really cold twilight time that made the car just a little bit nose heavy for me. But I think if we had a few more laps to get the tires warmed up, then we could really, push the limits of it. But hey, a 1:44 is a really good lap time, especially for me, especially where I am right now. So now that you guys know a bit more about, H patterns and sequential stuff, break out your car and have a little fun with shifting around. Remember, don't shift down too fast, okay? Try and match the RPMs. And slowly but surely, you'll get into a pattern with certain cars. Now, of course, there are some other cars out there that have different shift patterns, and there's also a few things that you gotta do, but we'll cross those cars when we get to them. But that's gonna do it for this episode of Doc's Racing Notebook. I know this one's a little bit shorter, but there really wasn't too much to really, talk about when it was coming to shifting. So hopefully you guys will retain this information, and hopefully you guys will, take it with you when you guys go out there on the track. Now, if you want to see more of Doc's Racing Notebook, make sure you hit the like button, don't forget to comment down below, and also subscribe, because at the time of recording this, we're almost to 300 subs. And believe me, Arlo, VRC 101, and all the characters that we have here on this channel would love to hit 300 subs. And also, too, I'll see you all at Ferality in June. So until next time, everybody, this is Dr. Detroit saying take care and happy racing. Right now, I need to go do some grocery shopping, and I guess I could probably take this car. It's gonna be a little tricky, but it's got a big enough boot that I could probably put some groceries in here. Anyway, catch you folks later.